What's happening? What's good, Kinfolk Nations? Fella, how y'all doing? What up with it?
All
Good
good, bro.
morning.
How you doing today?
Man, it's beautiful, bro. It's Friday, heading into the weekend. Looking forward to it, man.
That's
Everything
real.
Gucci on this side.
Good deal. Likewise, Ken. Likewise.
Bet,
Coochie.
man. Bet. Well, check this out, Kens. Man, we want to say love is the way. We use this platform to promote love. It's Love Month. Love Day was actually earlier this week. But really, man, I think, what we want to articulate is this love all day, every day. Catch it? Catch what I'm saying? So really, honestly, man, let's just go and get right into it, man. The topic for today is relationships. And I'm gonna
Ooh.
actually read you a basic definition, see, and read. How do y'all view relationships and the significance of understanding that love language when you're trying to connect with somebody?
Well, I think it's a great topic, B. As I think of the love languages, the first thing I think most people doing is something I had to do for myself, especially after I read the book, the five love languages, is what is my language. I think a lot of times people don't understand what language they speak, what their what their what's important, what's most important to them. Because like you said, most of the time it starts physical. Everybody want this quote unquote dime, good looking thing, but you get it and then what? You feel more empty with that or being able to sustain that because you don't understand yourself before you trying to understand somebody else. So a lot of times we're putting a lot of it's almost like we're just throwing a reel out in the ocean trying to catch a big fish and you ain't even put bait on there. You got to know what the bait is before you can even start and know what you're fishing for. So I think a part of that is understanding yourself. What's in my tackle box first? What do I offer? What do I need to be able to go and understand somebody else, which is your partner, as you're looking for love with a traditional relationship? I think love with kids is kind of natural because we all have love for anyone with kids has love for their kids just naturally from day one. But when you're trying to connect with somebody else, another individual, it's a lot of work that I don't think a lot of people are looking at that other person and how can I figure that out, but don't even know themselves. So that's what I think you should start with is yourself. Understand yourself before you can expect somebody else to understand you or try to understand them.
I smell it. I hear you. What I got from that was self-awareness. So I feel you. What up, C? What you thinking on, man?
Yeah, I think that's deep, man. I'm sitting here processing it. My thought now is that love, the basis of love, the ingredient of love is starting spiritually and understanding and having maturity there. The things that we learn kind of outside of spirit is just, again, fend for yourself, figure it out for yourself, get what you need. And love is an unselfish act. Love is a giving of yourself. And in the context of love, especially as it relates to my wife now, I just know I've just grown over time. The more mature I've gotten spiritually, the more connected I've become to her, the more aware that I am about who I am and who need to be, the better off I'm able to relate to her. And again, I've learned through trying to gain understanding of her, right?
Right.
And so it said, above all that, all things you get wisdom, but you also need to get understanding. I think the pursuit of understanding is wrapped in commitment, wrapped in love, wrapped in unselfishness, wrapped in kindness. Like these things that are not naturally put into us. It wasn't put into me. That wasn't how I operated at first, which
That's
kept me from loving.
that's deep.
So I just now see love in the light of leadership, in the light of a partnership. Like I thought that definition you put out there, B, was so spot on of two things connected in relationship, like a connectivity there. And I also say this, man, one thing I had to learn through, again, my wife, is that the currency for a relationship is attention. We think about all these other things being providers and being protectors and all of this stuff, but what she wants is your undivided attention. And the more attention that we pay, the better off our return is because now she knows that we are locked in on her. And so, again, those are things that I've gained through these conversations with my brothers, through watching the modeling of her parents and my parents, but also through just gaining an understanding of her now and knowing what she responds to. And so again, I just think that's the biggest thing as we try to figure out how to best do this thing, is that we got to understand our person, understand ourselves to Reed's point, and understand what the relationship is. But we pursue all of that stuff. It's a constant pursuit. Therefore, there is no time or energy for distractions. And that's tough, but that's just the way that we got to go down that road, in my opinion.
No, that's deep, man. I think there's a lot of layers to the conversation and a lot of different ways we could go with this, and we could spend an enormous amount of time on it, man. But just as I heard Reed talk about, and just the self-awareness and even your perspective on it, see, it's like a lot of things came rushing through me, right? So whether you are an absent father, and I'll be fair balanced, or absent mother or grandparent, sometimes what you can do is you can say, oh, okay, if I just provide gifts or if I send money, that's going to take the place of me not physically being there, and it'll make up for me not being there. I mean, how many times have we seen, dad hitting the clock, punching the clock, he grinding, right? But he missing all the other things that are important, like practices, picking up or having that conversation, whereas in your mind, you have perceived that if I show love through gifts, then that shows them how important they are to me, or that shows them that I really love them. But back to this love language thing and understanding from the foundation, your love language may be receiving gifts, but this individual that you're giving gifts to, their love language may be quality time. And so at that point, you're disconnected, right? Or, I think just a basic understanding of love, as Reed, I think, spoke to, and it was really cool, man. Just sometimes you're not understanding what your love language is, or you can have more than one. Or you understand what your love language is, and you project that on everybody else. Right? So my love language may be receiving gifts. It's not, but we just paint this picture. Right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, yo, man, Valentine's Day just passed. But as we were preparing for Valentine's Day, I might have been like, okay, the lady liked things, so let me go buy her a bag. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to go buy this bag. Right? And come home thinking that it's going to be all good. But if that ain't her love language, I could have saved the money I spent on the bag and understood and be connected with her. So if you disconnected, this is how you get back connected, is what we're saying, kinfolk community. If you disconnected and I'm thinking, hey, me buying a bag and I spent this money and put this pressure on myself, well, probably all I need to do was wash the dishes or wash her car. And she would have been more appreciative of that, which is the significance of understanding the love language.
It's so much cheaper to understand that, man. I just thought of you talk about buying a bag. If we take a step back, and I think a lot of times learning a language, it costs so much less. It's so much cheaper. It's pennies on the dollar. It may be a gesture of folding up clothes versus a Gucci bag. Now you done went and spent $3,000 of $8,000 on a bag that you could have spent 8 minutes and got even more for. Yeah. So I think I look at that as in totality of a lot of times that we have in our mind on what we think somebody wants or how we can keep them happy or please them. But that's not what they want. That's not the benefit that they're looking for. And it's something so simple. And something that C said made me just think of security. With most women want security. And I know I always thought security mean, okay, the bags are coming. The money's coming. We're financially secure. We can go anywhere we want, buy anything we want. But so many times you see those are some of the most miserable people because they think that that's what the security is. What I've come to learn that, especially in relationships, and I think it can go both ways, but especially with women, the security is know my man is coming home every day. The security is know that I'm the queen, the only thing on his mind. And you could be broke. There's no financial or dollar amount you can put on that and having your people secure at home and securing y'all position in y'all relationship. And I think a lot of the times, instead of spending the time to understand, okay, like you used the example for Valentine's Day, and we've talked about this as brothers, maybe write a card with some construction paper and a crayon. See what that gets you versus going to buy a diamond bracelet and a bag, and she come home and she got to have a smile. And now you disappointed, and now it's no love in the house on that day, on the 14th.
Just did it, man. Moment of transparency. I bought a couple of things for my wife, man, for Valentine's Day. And I think I had shared with y'all, man, I was proud of myself. I would beat my chest like, yeah, this did it. Because I have bought things for Valentine's, Christmas, Mother's Day, birthday, and I've missed, right? But I was putting pressure on myself early in the relationship that if I buy this, I'm going to get this. And so I had to change my perspective and renew my mind. Like it's just an opportunity to celebrate her. So if I miss it, it's okay. I don't have to beat myself up because I'm not trying to get anything. But I bought these things for this Valentine's Day on Monday, flowers, bought a couple gifts and whatnot. But here's what I did do. To your point, Reed, I wrote 3 sentences on a white piece of paper that I got out of the printer, took it to the post office, put it in an envelope, and mailed it. It showed up on Valentine's Day, and she couldn't take it. She's like, I love everything, but this right here is my favorite, right? And so again, not necessarily trying to.
How long did that take you?
It took me a little while to get creative because we creatures. I wanted to swing through Walmart and get a gift card and get some flowers and say, here you go. You know what I'm saying? So that's easy for me. So this took a little bit more time, but to your point, it wasn't nothing and it wasn't anything that was expensive, right? And so that's what we're trying to bust down and just trying to get away from the what society has taught us is what relationships should be about or what love really is. And so what we're doing is just really OG talk, man, trying to share with these young cats out here, man, that is bigger than what you see on social media. We ain't posting nothing on social media to try to get some likes and or applause about what we're doing. We're just really trying to shed some light on it. What up, C? I know if you had something, man, I think you were leaning in.
Yeah,
say something.
I mean, I'm just enjoying it, man. I think the bottom line is that you got to lock in on your significant other. There is a lot of information out here. There's a lot of advice out here, and that'll have you missing it. Just trying to be what somebody else is for somebody that you don't have. So again, I think if your lady like bags, buy her bags. If she ain't about that, don't worry about it. Figure out what it is that she likes, And I think once we get to an understanding, then what's understood don't have to be said. Like we trying to figure out a way to say something that should already be understood. And it's more than just being around; it's being present, man. Like we can be in the house with her all day, but if we on this and she on that, like we're not connecting. So again, I think that intentionality around spending time, staying in communion, staying in fellowship with your wife and enjoying that, keeping her as your girlfriend. That's something that we've talked about a lot. Yeah. And I think that was a real breakthrough for me. I had to figure out how to treat her like my girlfriend, right? Like a real girlfriend. Oh man, I was going back to love languages.
Yeah.
Because my love language is physical touch.
Oh yeah.
It hadn't changed. Like I'm country, I'm still in park. I was trying to put that on her as this is the turn on. And it wasn't that for her, right? So again, I had to understand how to heat up the grill, warm up the grill. What is her love language? Folding laundry, spending that time where she knows I had to think about her. I don't go to the store. So if I do go for her, she knows I was paying her attention and I was spending time on it. Just even on this past Valentine's, being at a point to where now we are 15, 16 years in, it's like the day before, she was like, hey, I got you a little gift. You want it now? And I was like, no, I ain't got yours yet. And it didn't blow up nothing. Everything was cool. Like, me and the buddies went out there and got her one. We dropped her off at home after church and told her, hey, we're going to buy you Valentine's gifts. And she was just as content and happy with that, knowing that me and our sons were out there on her behalf. So a lot of times, like, that ain't for everybody. Some women won't like that. So I'm not telling you to do that. All I'm telling you is to understand your wife, try to help her understand you better, pursue it all and wrap it up in your love and your attention and your affection, and get to that understanding. A lot of this stuff that's breaking up households is just simply misunderstanding. And hopefully we can get past that.
And a lot of times what happens is you focusing on yourself. So love is not selfish, right? You got to get the selfishness out of it so you can understand it, man. And we could really land on this because you brought up a couple of different things, and I think it's spot on. I actually got this for Reed, so I'm going to give him credit. The analogy I'm going to use is applicable to me and my situation with my wife. We love to travel, right? And so this is also going back to understanding your people. When we here at home, she's thinking about kids, she's thinking about homework, she's thinking about jobs, she's thinking about writing the bills out, right? She's thinking about what's going on with her family, her mother, and all that is kind of on her. And I've actually been in the bed with her, or we've been sitting at the island in the kitchen at the countertop, and you can see her phone as she scrolled through and had these enormous amount of screens open. She might have 100 screens open at one time. Like literally, because she might be looking at Amazon or something. She may be trying to buy some art for the room downstairs or whatever the case may be. Or she may be trying to buy me something, right? And she processing all this in our current space, in our current environment. And the energy cool, but What I have understood is when I take her out of that environment and take her somewhere near the water, she closed some of those screens down, and it gives her the ability to focus on me, right? And that make it cool for everybody. And I'll leave this last analogy, man. Don't know if y'all got anything else y'all want to add to it. Just for all the young folks out there, I'm talking specifically to the brothers. We are like microwaves. In the right situation, we heat up in about a minute and we ready. Women are like barbecue grills, pits. When you got to cook out, you got to go buy the meat, you got to wash it off, you got to season it, you got to let it marinate, you got to go out there and clean the grill off, you got to put the charcoal in it, you got to let the charcoal get hot, you got to let the grill get hot, and I would equate that to texting your wife throughout the day or your significant other. Tell her you was thinking about her. Pull up on her job, you know what I'm saying? Or just being in tune with her throughout the course of the day instead of waiting to the end of the day to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So all these steps that I just mentioned and going back to the barbecue grill, once you do all that and you get ready to put the meat on, as soon as that meat touch that grill, it's sizzling. That's how you get it sizzling and popping in your relationship. You got to lock in with your people, man. Conversation with kinfolk.